Well, welcome to Wicked Crazy Pinfalls. If you hear me muttering, I'm kind of fidgeting a little bit right now. Um, we got the man himself, Anakin JMT, my boy. What's good? How you doing?
Oh, I'm ready for this week to be done. Working 12 hours this whole week, including Saturday. So I'll have a great paycheck next week. It's just meaning I'm tired and not seeing my kid a lot this week. So what you gonna do?
Considering Anakin is getting ragged periodically about missing the show last week, I'm not going to be on that tote right there.
Who is
Um,
who is dragging me?
I was like one of those things of joking around and be like, Anakin is one of those people that would want to be on the show with somebody as huge as John Alba. And then the next thing you know, he falls asleep and doesn't come in.
Well,
You know?
so here's the deal of what happened last week. Just so everybody's got the record straight. My kid's school because I work third shift, so I work nights, sleeping during the day while my son's at school. His school calls me with an automated message at like 1:15 in the afternoon saying, due to flooding, uh, students who would get picked up at the church are gonna have to behind the school are gonna have to get picked up at the school instead. If your if your child's last name starts with A through, I don't know, S or whatever, pick them up here. If it's T through Z, you pick them up here. And my kid already gets picked up in front of the school, because some kids get picked up at the church. Um, and if they were turning out of the school parking lot, if they were going to be turning left, those kids get picked up at the church instead, because there's just such a high traffic area, because there's a busy intersection right there, that people trying to turn left, it's like it's backed up for so long. But it's like, you know who goes to the church and who doesn't. Why are you calling me? And I was never able to get back to sleep. And considering the fact that at work I'm driving high lows and cherry pickers, and operating heavy machinery, me being tired of operating one of those things is probably not a good idea.
He's operating a tag team, man, heavy machinery.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So we're gonna have a bunch of stuff to talk about. We might cut the show short depending on time and a few other things. Um, well, let's start with the one things, and we'll work our way up. According to a few outlets, yeah, your man AJ Styles, the phenomenal one, has re-upped with WWE. I'm excited about this. I'm probably the very few people that is excited about this. Um, I think it's great. I think that if they do this right, they'll push him to Roman at least at some point down the line, and he deserves it. If this is his last contract in wrestling in general, I mean, it'd be great to see him as the Universal Champion at least at some point in his whole run with WWE. I mean, it was 14, right? That he got into the Rumble, right? If I'm right,
2016.
16. I was 2 years off. Give me a close for that. But still, he's been in there for in that company for 6 years. So I mean, it's about time to have him go on a title run. And the last one he had is when he beat Jinder for in London for the WWE title. So why not give him a shot at the Universal title and bring back that magic he had with Roman on his first title run when he was going up that ladder quickly? They basically shot a rocket on his back, and when he went straight to the moon, to quote Cameron Grimes. Um, what are your thoughts on the possibility of, AJ down the line being the Universal Champion? That would be pretty sick.
I mean, I would hope if he's going to get re-signed, I'd like to see him with one more title run, one more world title run, whether it's the WWE title or the Universal title. I'm not surprised he re-signed. I'm a little sad, because I was kind of hoping that with everything that's been going on in Bullet Club right now in different promotions, you have what happened at Impact on Saturday with Jay White kicking out the Tongas and the stuff that's been going on AEW with Jay White coming in there and Adam Cole and the whole thing with with the Bucks and Red Dragon. I was kind of hoping that Styles was kind of looking at this and being like, I kind of want to be a part of this, especially because getting to see Styles be able to work with a whole fresh group of people, whether it's he goes back to New Japan, or I don't think he'd go to Impact, but most likely AEW, and getting to work with people there, and getting to see Styles and Omega, or Styles and this version of Danielson, would have been really cool. But I'm glad he's happy where he is. I'm glad he's getting paid well for it, because he 1000% deserves every dollar that he gets. And yeah, he is one of those guys who I would, I'd say he, normally he would definitely be considered like an easy world title contender. He held the title
A long
twice.
time.
Well, he held it twice, because the first time he held it for like I think 4, maybe 5 months, and then the second time he held it for just about a year. Although it's like, don't have him get chumped out to Brock Lesnar in 30 seconds in the chamber, especially when the two of them had a banger of a match at Survivor Series where a few years ago, where Styles nearly beat him. Like, chumping him out like that was a weird call. But yeah, I mean, if if you're gonna re-sign him, like, treat him well, book him well, and yeah, like I would definitely would like to see one more world title run with him, and and I'm hoping and maybe Styles was able to work into his contract that he can bring his Twitch back. I hope so, because I know he was really enjoying that. And since Up Up Down Down is pretty much really not doing anything anymore, let the guy have his Twitch back.
It's an interesting thing, because as a performer, he is literally, and I'm quoting somebody, I can't remember who, he is one of the best wrestlers pound for pound in the last 20 years. And that's, you can't deny that.
Oh yeah.
Of it.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'd put him, Danielson, and Omega in that elite, no pun intended, category of top tier class wrestlers. I mean, just a few days ago, I started rewatching, and I haven't finished it yet, but I started rewatching his SummerSlam 2016 match against Cena. And I was like,
oh,
and I was like, not only was like, oh, this is what a hot crowd for WWE sounds like, but just that match in of itself, like that, like the fact that Styles was able to come in, and within a few months he's getting a big featured SummerSlam match against John Cena that's that well received, is that good, and he gets to go over on Cena clean as a sheet. Like, if he's able to put on banger matches like that, and I say if because it's whether or not he's allowed to, because I fully believe he's still capable of doing that. He just has to be allowed to, and can't be doing this silly dumb stuff.
I think for me though, it's gonna get better. I mean, if with that amount of money and up and what they're gonna do, it's bound for him to actually just get that run, get that one long championship run. Like, he had the WWE championship on that run,
Yeah.
the second one for almost a year, like you said. But the thing is, I think you need to give him your prime title, and they look at the Universal title as their prime title. So, because now they're looking at,
which is weird considering
asinine.
The WWE title, that's the one that dates back to like the 70s. I mean, that was held by by Bruno and and Hogan and Brett and Austin and Rock and and Flair. That's that's the one with all the history, and they seemingly have more of a focus on this title that was, it's only little over five and a half years old at this point. You know, it's it's a
It's ass
it's really
backwards, to be
weird.
honest.
Yeah, it's really weird how it's weird in general how they treat their titles, but especially like something that, because it because I think because now with the IWGP Heavyweight Championship no longer being a thing because they've got their new title, which is the World Heavyweight Championship. WWE is apart from the NWA title, is like the oldest world title in existence, and
Hmm.
WWE treats it
Like
treats it
garbage.
second to this one. Yeah, it's really, don't even get me started on what they've done with the WWE title this year.
Well, we might move from something great to something. Well, it's a huge newsworthy thing, but
Yeah,
Cesaro is no longer with WWE. Well, Claudio is his real
yeah,
name, but I it it's
big
it,
Swiss.
it's interesting because his options are endless. Like he could do so many different things, and he doesn't even have to wrestle. I mean, he's
Yeah,
got he can just live off of coffee because he does have like a coffee business, I believe, too.
yeah. I think he will bring back his Twitch for sure because he was loving doing that. Um, Give me the Moni Lorcan, Biff Busick. Give me him versus Cesaro. Like that, like, and which apparently I haven't seen this, but I've been but Warren told me Biff Busick has already asked for that Cesaro match. I'm like, yes, that is a good match. Look, I've been a fan. I've been a fan of Cesaro for a while. His the moment where he won the first Andre the Giant Battle Royal, and he was able to slam Big Show and get him over the top rope to be eliminated. That was a huge moment that should have led to something bigger. Um, he had such a great run with Sheamus as part of the Bar, and that is that's that is definitely one of my favorite tag teams of the last 5 or 6 years. Is the Bar, and that to me, Sheamus and Cesaro, I think their best runs period were as part of the Bar because they were having consistently good matches. They won the Raw and SmackDown tag titles multiple times, and then Cesaro, to party. I mean, that, and it's seeing him play Uno with Breeze, Xavier Woods, and Adam Cole, and going, why are you not pushing this guy? This guy is so charismatic, and he makes so many puns and not only are the puns good, but they make everybody else cringe, which is even better. And I do wonder because we know that people really weren't doing anything with up up down down in solidarity of Woods because they wanted Woods to get a better deal because he had really built that channel up and was getting nothing. He wasn't getting a dime from it. And he'd put in so much work. And I know a lot of people were refusing to do things in solidarity with Woods until he got a better deal. The fact that there really hasn't been anything done lately, the fact that so many people who were a part of that channel and and doing things are gone. You've got Breeze, you've got Cole, Mia Yim, and Jessamine Duke were doing things as part of BRE Start and Left Right, and they're gone. Tegan Knox was part of Left Right. She's gone. Joe got released, then got re-signed, and then got released again. Like so many people who were so important to up up down down that really made that channel a success are now gone, and it makes me wonder like how much did that play a factor into Cesaro choosing to not resign. We may never know, but it's one of those things where it's like, you know, I don't think you can just purely look at his booking. That's certainly a big part of it, and may have been part of it, but you also got to look at these outside circumstances too, and just goes to show once again, WWE, they only care about the brand and not about the people that make the brand a thing. And because them, it's like it's just a machine. Everybody's a cog in a machine. Cogs can be and they think cogs can be replaced, and they can't. I mean, they can't. So I'm excited to see where he's going to go, whether it's AEW. There's people who are like, hey, get him in the G1, which he'd be really good in that. I don't know if he'd be able to get to Japan simply because of restrictions and all that. And I don't know if he's here. I guess he's probably here on a work visa, although he's been in the States for long enough, maybe he's got a green card or something, or maybe he's a naturalized citizen. I have no idea, but I hope that he's able to get work soon so that if he's on a work visa, he's able to get, I hope he's able to get signed somewhere soon then, so that he can continue to stay in the States and in the place where he's made his home. But definitely excited to see what his future is looking like.
Your nemesis just popped in.
I told him to. I told him like, hey, I'm not going to be in here long. You ought to come in here to save the show. I knew that was going to be the trick too. You are okay. Hold on. You cannot have your be Hobbs Fur Coat if you're not gonna. Not if you're not gonna have your Twitter name be that.
You can't tell me what to do. You can't tell me
your Twitter name.
You're not the boss of me. You're not Warren.
I'm not Warren.
Edit that out.
Oh no.
No.
Let's try this.
I didn't name myself that. That's not real. Well, I don't know what you're trying to pull here. You're trying to slander me. As usual.
All right. Well, since you're here, get in here. Back in here. Throwback.
Throwback. What's up?
Over there. What do you think about Cesaro?
I don't know. What has he done recently? He hasn't done anything, right? Like they haven't.
He's been feuding with Sheamus. I know that. I don't watch the product. Paul, why would you expect me to watch the product?
I don't watch it. Missed opportunities, yada yada yada. I'm gonna be unpopular here. I don't think his ceiling in WWE was world champion. Like he always reminded me of like the British Bulldog.
Yeah,
he's like the guy right on the cusp, and I think he could have and should have been presented closer to that, because it just felt like if you look at his career, there's like they really just saw him as a tag wrestler. Like most of the time he was there as a tag wrestler. So I think he could have been. There was a couple times I thought like, oh, he'd be a great world title challenger for like Brock or what Brock like 8 years ago with Brock or Seth Rollins or Roman.
I think he had a title shot against Roman last year.
Yeah. I think that should have happened years. I think like even when Roman's first run, like 2015, they had a good match on Raw.
Yeah,
and it blew me away. Like when Cesaro gets healthy, he got hurt, and I was thinking when he came back, that's a pay-per-view main event right there, and they didn't do it. And then 2014, they didn't. I mean, it just you build equity for your people, and they're not good at doing that. So that's why Cesaro has just been like another guy, and then him leaving is just like, oh, okay, it's just, yeah, it's whatever. I mean, I'm interested to see what he does outside of WWE, because he's going to make, if he wants, he can make so much money, so many good bookings, and he can just control it, you know.
And not to mention, having his Twitch back, he was doing well on Twitch before.
Oh, he was doing Woods' thing, right? He was doing the New Day thing, the
up down.
Yeah, he's doing that, right?
Well, that too. But he also, before WWE said can't doing third party stuff, he was on Twitch, and he was like, as far as the number of people on Twitch, like I think Adam Cole was like number one. But for as far as like wrestlers, Cesaro I think was in the top 5. I mean that's because up down and his popularity with that and the party, like people really liked watching his stuff. So if he was assuming he brings his Twitch back, I fully expect him to do well on that. I mean, Paige makes 6 figures off of her Twitch. She's sitting at home collecting a WWE paycheck. Meanwhile, on Twitch, she makes 6 figures from this. She's getting paid. So Cesaro could
6 figures. Are you serious? That's
no. I'm 1,000% serious. I'm not pulling your leg. She
so
makes
how much is like Cole make? No, that's a bad example. Woods isn't on Twitch, right?
He isn't. No.
Oh yeah, Cole. Like, how much is Cole?
I don't know Cole, but I mean, I remember for his what was it, 100th stream or something. He was going to stream Donkey Kong 64, and Britt was going to be on, and they had like I was there for part of that. They had over 1,000 people in there, and people were constantly subbing and gifting subs and dropping bits and stuff, and like he was blown away, and that was a year or two ago. So I mean, I can only imagine it's grown even since then. I mean, he's got his own Discord just for his Twitch and the people who follow him on there. So I mean, he's got to be making some good. I wouldn't be surprised if he was making 6 figures just off of Twitch as well. And then you got his AEW contract on top of that, which I'm sure is probably a good amount. So yeah, Cesaro could easily make a really good amount of money on Twitch. He just has to stop playing Clash of Clans all the time and play something a little more interesting.
I'm never going to see 6 figures in my lifetime. Let's be honest with that.
Yeah. What?
I don't think I'll see 6 figures in my lifetime.
No, I'm lucky. I'm lucky if I get to see 4.
I don't pay attention to where I get paid. I'm very paranoid about money. I'm just I don't even look at. I haven't looked at my bank account.
That explains why you haven't ponied up to get a. That explains why you haven't ponied up to get a mic. Okay,
I have a mic on my laptop. That's how do you think I'm talking to you? I had a mic
the same way right now, considering I have a mic, but my headset's dead right now, so it's charging.
Mm.
So that's why it might sound like a jet engine coming through my house because of freaking.
I can't hear it.
I don't hear you. You sound
because the space.
Yeah,
the heater's going on.
I think you're the only one who hears it because we don't hear it at all.
Yeah, I can't turn into recording. I mean, I think Cesaro, whatever he does, is going to be great. I think he's underutilized. I think for years he should have been a WWE champion years before all of this stuff, before he had that run with Roman. And what doesn't make any sense is it's just how they just don't utilize him at any point. It's ridiculous because they had a golden goose and they just laid that egg. So
yeah, even if he hadn't been world champion, that's like if you need to make a new champion, like he can be your guy. Like he's one of those guys. Like Kofi was one of those guys. Even before Kofi Mania, he had like a good 5-6 years in the mid card, which like he's there, but you could be using him to make Rollins or make
Big E too.
But yeah, I think Big E, but Big E was like a little later,
Sure.
But I think Big E was fine. But like Kofi or Cesaro, they had like 5 years. It's like, why are you not doing anything with this guy? But yeah, if Cesaro will be fine, I think. I hope his gimmick is just like he just drinks coffee. He's just like this, because that's what he was doing in Ring of Honor when I started watching. He was just like the European coffee guy, and you'd be like the.
Were they really?
Americans suck. I'm sophisticated. Ring of Honor was okay back then. They were fine, but yeah.
Well, I do need to get going. There was one thing I very briefly wanted to touch on before I left, and that's the MJF promo from last night. I don't know if you had a chance to see this throwback. If you had a chance to see this promo. So at Revolution next week, he's facing CM Punk in a dog collar match, which the last time AEW had one of those was Brody Lee's last match, and it was Brody versus Cody for the TNT title, and people still talk about it. I finally found a video of the match, so first chance I get, I'm gonna watch it and see what it's about.
Yeah, there's a cool cameo in that match too. It's a cool cameo. I'm not gonna give it away, but
okay, yeah, I'm hoping I can watch it this weekend. We'll see. I'm working 12 hours this whole week, so it's been very crazy. But MJF comes out to the ring last night, and he's got tears in his eyes, or his eyes are red, and and his face is wet, like it looks like he's been crying. My first thought is, what are these crocodile tears? And he gives this stunning promo about how he. What up, Drew?
Hey.
He gives this stunning promo about how he had ADT or ADD, and he was bullied as a kid for being Jewish and all this stuff, and how much pro wrestling really helped him and really helped him get out of it, and how to Punk, the day that Punk met young MJF as a kid, and shook his hand and took a picture, how for Punk that was just a Friday, but for MJF it was something different. And I'm watching this and I'm like really kind of wary because I've got ADHD and I also had issues making friends in school and getting bullied and stuff. And I'm like, a lot of the stuff he's saying I'm really kind of connecting with, but I know MJF and I'm like, I was very wary of like, is this going to be something where it's all a ruse and he's just making this up just to get at Punk. So I was very nervous about how this was going to go, and I have to say the fact that they allowed it to end and he just walked off and didn't try to be like ha ha ha, like I made it all up, like, and then I find out, oh, he actually gave a very similar promo in MLW, and this is actually a real life experience that he actually had. Like, I was very impressed with it, and I was very appreciative because, there are a lot of people that have ADD or ADHD, and it's very easy for a lot of people to say, oh, I felt awkward in high school. I didn't really have many friends. Like I had people I went to high school with who, like, they said the same thing, but like, no, it's different for kids like me who we didn't go to people's houses. Nobody invited us to go to their houses. Nobody invited us to go to birthday parties or for sleepovers or anything like that. I would talk to people at school maybe, but I mean, I never had people talking to me and asking me how I was doing or what was going on with me. And, I never had any of that kind of interaction that I thought a lot of other people had. And, I was, I was very wary that MJF would be using this, and basically it's kind of like a mockery of people like that. So I was really glad to see that he really didn't. And he's like, no, like, this is real happen. And as long as he's using it, he's using a real life experience just as a way to trick Punk into taking pity on him. Like, let the experience be real, but have him use that experience to fool Punk into taking it easy on him. That I am okay with. So I just wanted to give. You hate to give it to him, but I want to give MJF his props for a fantastic promo. And like, honestly, it's one throwback you ought to look at and see, because it was. It's truly, I think, one of the best promos I've seen in the last 5 years. Right up there with the cowboy shit promo that Hangman gave before Full Gear. It's up there in terms of promos. I would really recommend you watch it.
Eventually I will. I don't want to go into the psychological stuff about all that stuff because I am working on a project with trying to get interviews lined up where and I pitched this to Pluggo and Rob about how talking to peers about the content creators and the psychological aspects of it. I love psychology, and I should have went into psychology and stuff, but I want to get into the emotional high you get when you have somebody that likes something, whereas when somebody doesn't, how demeaning. And me and Drew have had some conversations about stuff like this off camera about the psychological aspect of it, and it kind of like made me sit back and realize how my high school and stuff, because the best line my mom ever told me was, the real world is high school. It's all a bunch of cliques, it's all a bunch of everything, but eventually when you go home to your parents and it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still stuff that, you know, I want to get deeper in the psychological aspect. I want somebody to turn the rules on me like Rob did and interview me and talk about it. It's an idea I have that I've been sitting on for a little while, and I want to see if I can pitch it with the crew and then work my way out. And you know, it's kind of like what because Spencer put a like on on Facebook, you know, shout out to Spencer Love, go check out what they're doing. I Love Wrestling. um is that what he did mind behind, but I want to go into, you know, a good example. I'll ask Anakin this question: what, as a content creator, what is the psychological aspect of the feeling when you have 10 likes on a video? Or what's the psychological feeling, you know, in your body, like, you know, the excitement of it, the endorphins that kick in, you know, in the back of your mind? What is, you know, the digression of your mind wondering if they don't like it, kind of compared to where you get all these views and stuff on you know, numbers are numbers, but when you get somebody that subscribes, how do you feel about it as a person compared to you as a content creator? You know, trying to discern Anakin to Joel, kind of like the same thing
Yeah.
people do in wrestling. You know,
I think it's hard.
Drew's like wanting to say something, you're just sitting there like ready to go.
No, I'm just listening. I take everything in sometimes. Sometimes I don't have to say anything. I just sit here and listen.
I'll answer it real quickly, and then I do need to get going. I think it depends, because, you know, like, who you're seeing here, like, it's pretty much me. Like, it might, like, I might turn it up a little bit, and, you know, especially when I want to go this guy, you know, I might turn it up a little bit. But I mean,
do you mean you shouldn't say DGMC, you should say
I didn't say this. I didn't say DG. I just said, well, now it's this.
What are you doing, man?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to give an actual answer. I'm trying to give an actual answer. But like, so much of what you see here, like, that is me. So for me, it's hard to separate who Anakin is from who Joel is, because to me, it's kind of like one and the same. It's, you know, it's different than, like, let's say, you know, you have Alexa Bliss. There's Alexa Bliss and there's Lexi Kaufman. And there's a similarity in the first name, but, you know, Lexi Kaufman, she loves Disney stuff and princesses. She's engaged to a singer of, you know, of some sort. She loves coffee. You know, she had a pet pig that unfortunately passed away, which was really sad for her. And then there's Alexa Bliss, who's doing this whole weird thing, going through therapy and trying to get over Lily and, you know, and stuff. Like, babyface Alexa Bliss was pretty much Lexi Kaufman, just, you know, adjusted here and there. And I think it depends on, like, how much of yourself you really put out there and really show the person. And I think the more of yourself that you put out there, the more that a like or a dislike can really affect you and can really affect your mentality. And and that's why, for some people, having them, like, Seth Rollins and Colby, very different people. Seth Rollins right now is just doing this, like, Joker gimmick, and being a big old troll. And Colby is like, he's a dad to his daughter. He's a husband to Rebecca Quinn, who happens to be one of the biggest stars in WWE, too. But, he's just a normal person. He's got a coffee shop. He's got a wrestling school. But you don't see any of that on Monday Night Raw. you see Seth Rollins, who's a wrestler and is doing this, weird kind of thing, like MJF. I'm assuming he's not really a dick in real life. I mean, it's very hard because he assumes the cameras are on like pretty much all the time, reportedly when he's backstage at AEW. So he's always in character there. So, but I'm assuming, but from the few things that we've heard, the real life Maxwell Jacob Friedman is a really stand up, nice, decent guy, so for him, because he's playing a character so far from where he actually is as a person, I imagine it'd be easier for him to accept being booed over other people. But so anyway, I do gotta go. See you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.
Zoom in on DGMC's kitchen. We'll see how dirty it is. Ah, you came back. Damn. You're muted, by the way.
It's fine. Did you guys hear my AC?
No.
No, but you heard the jet engine.
I got you.
You wanted it, so here we go.
There we go. Okay, we got a spoon of some sort.
Yeah, I have a coffee maker. Yeah, it's very impressive.
So since Drew's here, go check out the NXT show we did on the Roundtable Podcast, YouTube, and bodyslam.net. It was an awesome time with Drew, even though we were like literally half asleep half the time, literally just like out of it.
Like now.
So you and me have already talked about NXT, so we're just gonna skip that. But he's like definitely. But it's interesting because AEW had a really good show. NXT, for me at least, had a decent show, and we got SmackDown coming up in tomorrow in Rampage. But have you guys caught the new NXT show yet, or had a chance to?
Level Up, that show?
Yeah.
That's not a gaming show. It's not like Xavier Woods is not doing that. It's not a.
No, it's a real 1 hour wrestling show.
It's what 205 Live was, but not 205 Live.
Yeah.
So what is it?
It's like AEW Dark, basically, when it first started.
Yes, it's NXT Dark.
Who's gonna be on it then? Who's gonna be on it? The
NXT people.
But that's what NXT is for. Why is this show a thing? Why is this happening? Why is this?
Because the 205 brand is dead, and they just wanted to put an extra hour of TV in its place, I guess. So they're doing it on Peacock. There's like an hour, I think, Fridays. I think it actually competes with
Rampage. Yes, it does.
Yeah. Oh, that's a real ratings battle. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's more so that they want to see how WWE wants to see how it stands on its own 2 feet, like the old format for NXT, and see it and look at it as a separate entity and bringing people's eyes on it. But they rather have it on the Peacock network like they used to do with the NXT originally. So, I mean, I haven't caught it yet, but I have a feeling it's going to be pretty good, and eventually, hopefully, some of these people get a chance to move on to the main show with the 2.0. I asked this question earlier because of Styles being signed. I asked this on the Spotlight podcast with Jeremy and Steven Jensen. Is that, do you think with AJ signing, what do you think his matches are going to be like after Mania? Like, who do you think they have lined up for him to have a good run? Because that is a good question in itself.
Maybe who's Sammy just won the Intercontinental Championship, so maybe they could move him over to SmackDown, I'd imagine. Because I mean, he's been on Raw now since the draft, or even before then, right? He's been on Raw for a while.
Yeah, and I watched one of the interviews he did, and he stated that with Almost, it felt like he was a singles competitor, just having someone else there. So, I mean, I think he's overdue. He's in that Cesaro, Mark Calloway area kind of where he's overdue for, even though he's had title runs and stuff, he's overdue for like what Cesaro was supposed to have, which is Universal. But I honestly believe that he deserves to carry that Universal title when it's all said and done. We don't know the length of the contract. So, I mean, it's a multi-year contract. So I wouldn't be surprised that once Roman loses the belt, you see AJ picking it up right there and Roman going over to Raw at some point.
If they do build AJ up to be credible again before the Omos stuff, maybe he could be the one to take it off of Roman.
It would be awesome, a really great match, because look at the matches they had.
Yeah,
it was just one non-stop insane match. AJ could throw amazing matches left and right, but like I said before, I think he's in the Mark Calloway area where he wants to give back and build up other talents. But I also want to see like what happens next. I think he's not done with NXT. I think he's probably going to be down there teaching, but not performing, and that's a big thing.
I don't know. I mean, like the NXT thing, that I know that's kind of like something that he wanted to do, but I don't know if it's something that he's going to do more of that much. I mean, maybe here and there he'll go down if there's like another Grayson Waller type that they want to put over. But then again, they didn't even put him over because
No,
Styles
they just
technically won
basically buried him.
Yeah, they don't even know what the hell they're doing. So I don't know. I mean, it'd be nice, but I mean, Mark Calloway never went down there and did anything.
No, but he did go.
Want to? I don't know.
But he did go and do a dark match, which that was kind of televised. They talk about this in the documentary with him. I think it was Last Ride or the documentary with Kane, that he went down to an independent promotion, and that's how he knew Glenn Jacobs. That's how they met, and they wrestled together.
Oh, yeah, but that was
remembered that. But
that was 30 years ago.
But still, that if it was the same way today, you would say, wow, the Undertaker went into, this unknown promotion and found an amazing talent. It's just AJ's in that spot where he wants to give back to the business rather than just, focus on everything else. He wants to focus on everything else and give back. So I won't be surprised that he doesn't perform for NXT again, but I won't be shocked that he will be a coach back there at some point.
It's possible.
Yeah.
I mean, Shawn Michaels is down there, so.
Well, to me, he's also, like I said on Twitter, he's the Shawn Michaels of this generation. Like, everybody looks up to him.
Yeah.
That still blows my mind that Shawn Michaels is teaching at NXT. Like, it's tough for me to like wrap my head around it. Just because he's my favorite wrestler of all time, but it's just so weird hearing that Shawn Michaels, like NXT, he's a coach, or he doesn't run it, he's just a coach, right?
He's the head coach right now.
That sounds so weird. To me, it just sounds so weird. I don't know why.
He was in Bloom's position for a while now. I don't know what he's doing because of Hunter not being around. So, and all the changes, I think that he's really one of the most valuable minds in this, and everybody, picks who they think it is.
Yeah.
So.
Even with the more, I know I was reading, like, even with the more experienced guys, like back when they were there, O'Reilly and Cole and Gargano, even they, like, he's invaluable in the sense that he could teach a guy or a girl that doesn't know anything about wrestling, is just like a model or it's like a football player or something. He can teach them something. And he also teach the guy or the girl that was on the indies and was a big star in Japan for 10 years. So I think that's very cool. And he has respect either way.
Well, I mean, it also makes sense because it's like AJ is going to be lined up the same way too.
Yeah.
So for me, it's great to see AJ being happy the way it is. It's sad Cesaro's gone, and it shouldn't be like this in some aspects on it. one person, everybody should be happy in their lives. It doesn't matter what they do. But of course, I change oil for a living, so I mean, that's that says it all right there. Other than that, I mean, it's just this week's been really good. The MJF promo is Anakin preferred to.
Yeah, you really need to see that. That
and-
was masterful. It was amazing.
we get. I saw a clip on YouTube about how at Revolution you're gonna get Moxley versus Danielson, which is going to be AEW is producing like match of the years candidates left and right now.
Every show practically.
Yes.
And WWE is trying to catch up with certain matches. I mean, the Goldberg match for me at Sands of Time. I watched it back a little bit and more in depth, and I put myself and I punished myself through this, but I just had to. And I looked at it as it's like, okay, so if this was Roman who he is now and Goldberg 20 years earlier, then this thing could have gone for 30 minutes, but it didn't. Lashley, if the Elimination Chamber getting hurt, supposedly it's a concussion.
That was dumb as hell. So dumb.
It looked weird. I remember I was watching the show and I saw him hit the glass spot, and I was like, oh, they're gonna take him out that way. He's gonna come back, right? And it's like he didn't come back, and I was like, maybe he's really hurt, but it just because the glass didn't seem like it hit him that much. Maybe it was like, I think it was Riddle, right? Riddle or AJ went through the glass or something.
I think Riddle power bombed.
Didn't Seth powerbomb Theory?
Or Seth powerbomb Theory. Yeah, that's what it was.
So Theory, I was like, well, Theory's not a big guy. It's like, but then I was thinking like maybe that did give him a legit thing. Because like we've seen worse, what's it called, the capsule or we've seen worse spots or looking spots of those little those chamber, what they call capsules or whatever. We've seen like Goldberg spearing pods. Yeah. We've seen Goldberg spearing Jericho through a pod, and that looked terrible. That looked like
the best one I remember is Otis. Otis going through, and they just left. Like Otis running right through it just because of the fact that he was mad and just was going after somebody in the pod. But
yeah, that was just really stupid. Like, you couldn't think of a more creative way to do that. You had to fly him all the way to Saudi Arabia just to be in a pod and get, concussed in the pod, where you could even tell that he wasn't really affected by the glass hitting him.
Yeah.
It's called a concussion protocol. Meanwhile, I talked about this elsewhere. Meanwhile, somebody who actually needed concussion protocol on that show, they just continued with that match. When Madcap Moss got spiked on his fucking head. And they were just like, oh, yeah, we're going to continue with this match. But, a little plexiglass into somebody's body, concussion protocol. They have a big problem with that stuff. Like,
and the thing is that it especially Moss, he shouldn't even be in that ring after that. They should just stop the match right on the spot. But the way that the chamber for the men's was just insane how it ended, where Theory going off, that had to be like 10 feet in the air. And all of a sudden he looked like a propeller going off of Brock's shoulders. I mean, he took that spot and took it like a champ. You could tell that they have a lot of hope for him as it's like a high-end talent almost.
Yeah. It's I don't, with Theory, like, I know that there were issues in the past, like during the speaking out movement and stuff. And I don't know, maybe I don't know if you two know, because I've never seen like an official, like, was he cleared from that, or was that?
I didn't remember at all.
It reminds me of like, like Velveteen Dream, where like all the talk around just kind of stopped. It just kind of slowly disappeared.
But like everybody that I know says, like disparages him because of it. But I don't know that he deserves to be disparaged, because I've never seen him be guilty or whatever. So it's just like it's just become like a thing now. It's like, oh yeah, Austin Theory, the pedophile, whatever it was. I think
it reminds me of Velveteen, where it's like the stuff was the discourse around him, and WWE just kept using him. But the difference is that Theory isn't. Well, you could say Theory's in a bigger spot than Dream right now than Dream was then.
True.
But I'm not doing
Theory. I think was guilty. Velveteen.
Yeah. But the difference is that with Theory, the talk just like stopped. It just like disappeared.
Right.
Because it kind of started when he was on the Indies. Well, it did. It will evolve, and it kind of spilled over when he got signed and all that. Then just kind of no one really. It's not a big talking point.
Yeah. The Riddle thing is the Riddle thing. We all know that's true. But and I would argue probably he's at the same level as Theory right now on Raw, or maybe even a little bit higher.
Yeah, I say a little. Yeah, I mean, because he's been there longer, probably, and he's got the thing with the act with Randy. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised in a year from now, Theory's like not world champion, but like if he main events a pay-per-view for a title. Like a B show, it'd be
probably
because I remember watching him in Evolve like 4 or 5 years ago, and I was like, "Oh, he's tailor made for WWE. Like he's gonna get signed, he's gonna get hot shotted, and that's literally what's happening." I can't
somewhat.
It's weird that I saw this happening, but it's actually happening.
And I've seen you mentioned Evolve. I've seen him. I went to Evolve shows and I met him and talked to him and had pictures with him. Just like thinking, like, man, he was doing stuff like that. But again, the talks just stopped, and it didn't seem like it was. If you know in the comments. If you're here in comments or whatever, put that in there because I liked him. I thought he was really good, and I've taken away that fandom because of all of that stuff that happened. But then it just stopped, so I don't even know like what the results were of all that.
I think if he's getting the push, I think he's getting like the higher he goes, we'll see the talk pop up again. Hopefully, if there is any more. We'll get more clarity on it.
There might be some underlying tones, and if let's say they put him against Priest and have him beat Priest to get the title off him for the United States, like
that's what needs to happen.
You're gonna hear all the chatters, all the people in the background, especially on Twitter and social media, basically saying, "Hey, he did this. Everybody remembers."
Yeah, but I don't trust social media. Fuck social media. I want to know like from actual people.
Yeah, but we like the book I had to read in communications courses. We are the media, basically, at this point.
Yeah, I mean, look, you see so much misinformation going around. There was just something the other day that I just remembered. Like, I don't remember what the topic was, but it was somebody posted a picture of the champion of Chase and Rance's promotion at an AEW Dark, and then said, "Oh, Tony Khan's hanging out with," because he took a picture with Tony Khan at the AEW Dark taping, and then the person said, "Oh, Tony Khan's hanging out with this person, whatever that person was, at Chase and Rance's promotion." It's like, no, that's Orlando. That's the Dark taping studio. That's not the dojo of Chase and Rance's promotion. It's literal. There's an AEW Dark banner hanging behind them in a fucking picture.
Oh, I saw the picture. Yeah, so it was like a black ring, or the ring was like black or something. Or it was like
it was just the AEW Dark studio, and they were saying that it was in Chase and Rance's thing, and now he has a relationship with. It's like, no, like maybe we don't know that for a fact, but what you're using to say stuff like this is false. So it blows my mind how people are like that. Like, again, I don't know if Tony Khan can might be talking to him. He might not. I don't know. But to use that picture to say that is wrong, because that doesn't prove what you're saying.
And this is why I want to do that whole series about content creating and psychology. Just because it takes one photo to trigger 1,000 comments in a second.
Yeah.
That's why, like, if I have a book that I would tell anybody who's watching us, even though we talk about wrestling and stuff, go read the book We the Media, and you'll understand what I mean. It's kind of interesting. I have it somewhere in this whole studio somewhere.
I always used to say, I stopped saying it now because it just became like a thing, and I don't, aside from the head of the table thing that I used to do, that's a thing I would do for an extended period of time. But I used to say at the end of my videos to find me on Twitter at Big Money Drew, the best and worst place to be, because it really is like, it's a wonderful creation, but it's also horrifying.
It's interesting because it builds up people and destroys people so quickly. And in wrestling too, look how many people like are really good wrestlers who are like defending themselves constantly, and then a lot of people's careers are going. I'm not saying what these people did in their own downtime is horrible, but their careers got hurt because of it. We don't see Velveteen, and I know everybody's happy about this, but to be as a human being, you don't want anybody losing their jobs or anything like that. But we don't see him wrestling or hearing about him wrestling. We don't hear some of these people that went through that anymore. So it's
there's that new promotion called CYN. We might see him in because you know which one I'm talking about.
The Ellis Island of canceled wrestlers. Yeah, they're gonna bring in Loki and Eddie Hart. And
we'll see about
Virgil. That. Put Virgil in there as a commentator.
Hell, we hear stuff from Enzo, and Enzo looks yoked right now.
Yeah,
he looks like Tiger King now, really jacked up Tiger King.
It's just, but that's the point. It's just we could post something, our opinions and everything. We could talk about it on here. Hell, me and Drew were literally trying to swim upstream on the NXT show, not because it wasn't a good show. It's just that we were exhausted and tired from all that, from lack of sleep for the most part. But we made it through that show pretty good for Body Slam, and it's just we are what we say on here somebody might be agreeing on, like how DNGC, you don't agree with Anakin's takes and vice versa, but you guys do poke the bear a little bit on each other a little bit too much sometimes. I'll be honest with that.
I find it very entertaining.
I think it's funny, but I mean it's one of those things where it's got to be people look at it as like one way or the other. And there's no in between. That's why, like, with Cesaro, we're waiting to see what happens with him next. And MJF's promo was amazing, but everybody wants to see what happens.
As with Eddie Kingston's with Chris Jericho.
And then on top of that, something bad happens with somebody, and then everybody pounces on it. Like 1,000 people pounce on how bad it is and how it. As much as we use this as a means, hell, I'm old enough. My birthday, this is technically my birthday show anyway, so I'm going to just say it. I'll be 41 on Sunday. So,
happy birthday. Yeah.
Thanks.
I don't have a cake, a bottle of water for you. Hey, there you go.
Well, the oven's behind you. Get to baking.
Salute.
Yeah, I mean, my birthday was already planned with somebody on this panel, but, things happen. So that'll happen eventually. But I mean, it's just one of those things where social media could be a good thing or a bad thing. I remember dial-up. I remember what payphones are. Okay, you try to explain this to somebody that's that doesn't understand it. It's like completely different. So,
how old are you, GMC? I'm
25. So
really?
I remember payphones. I remember there's still a lot of like old broken down payphones where I'm at, or like in DC. There's like but they're like shit. They're like broken to shit. But I mean I never used them before, so
I have.
I guess I count.
Oh,
The
that's
stories are
that makes me
true.
feel old.
I've seen the Matrix. I know how payphones work, right? You pick up the phone.
You pick up phone, collect call, and you try to say where you at, what you're doing, and ask your parent to pick you up as quick as possible without having to freaking, that whole Gabriel Iglesias story. That is real. So I mean, it's going to be
Meters
fun.
used to be, the little thing there that you put the money in and twist
It
the
twist it, yeah.
That's
thing
like
instead of these stupid
50s.
fucking electronic ones that I hate so much.
Yeah.
That's my old man yelling at cloud moment. I hate those things so much.
So we're gonna wrap it up. We've been doing an hour. Got a couple of things about the tournament. We're gonna do a major WrestleMania prediction show. The tournament kind of brackets got scrapped because of the fact that with time and me working my ass off so much and being tired. So we're gonna get a bunch of people from the tournament and from the crew. I'm gonna see if I could reach out and record Pluggo's stuff, JPJs. I'm gonna message to these guys and see if they want to either submit their picks for Mania or whatnot, and whoever wins, that will be crowned. Then it'll be a 2-night thing. It'll be the total 2-night thing. Will be crowned the Wicked Crazy Pinfalls champion. Anybody's welcome to join.
So let me ask you this question. There's a lot of people that are going to be doing this, obviously. So what if we have ties?
If we have ties, then we'll go in and push the title into different matches further down the line. So let's say if you, Pluggo, and Anakin tie, we'll have a triple threat match at the next pay-per-view to go on to it. Or if 5 people tie, we'll have a 5-way. It's just one of those things right now, especially with what Drew, outside of this place. Like, time for me is very, very precious, and between the body slam stuff that I'm doing, which I absolutely love doing the NXT show for them, and if Cassidy's watching, I would love to do more for them if I can. And some of the taping stuff that I want to schedule, I want to put in the can for when I have to take a leave of absence for a little while, and do that series about psychology too. And I want to do as much as I can now before things happen. So stay tuned on that major announcement. That major announcement is going to affect so many things, and it's going to affect so many people.
You just pulled the Tony Khan. You just said there's going to be a big announcement, and now you're announcing that you're going to announce something.
Yeah.
Thanks. So Christian Cage is going to show up, right? Christian Cage going to be on the show in the tournament, right?
No, I'm working on this announcement.
The wrestling landscape is changing.
All right, Paul White is going to show up. Tall Paul is going to show up, and
let's just say this much: people's lives with this announcement are going to change.
Okada will show up. That's my final answer. Okada shows up.
It's not only going to.
He's just going to give me the belt. That's what's going to end up happening.
It's not only going to affect the Wicked Crazy crew. It's going to affect me. It's going to affect maybe not so much the landscape of wrestling, like our wrestling lives, but it might just affect a lot of other people's lives in a positive manner. Drew, me and Drew have talked about a couple of things, and one of these things, it's one of those most important things. So it's in a positive light. So, but might as well end it up on a positive note. Drew, tell them where they can find you.
At Big Money Drew on Twitter. The best and worst place to be. And
brings it back.
Yeah, why not? And Fightful Overbooked on Saturdays. Usually Saturdays. If there's a pay-per-view, then we do Sunday, like last week. With Joe Pearl for our show Hits and Misses. And that will be this Saturday at 5 p.m.
What about you, Mike?
You can catch me in the shadows watching or asleep, or I'll be on the Discord, One Hayes Discord, carrying that place on my back. That's what I'm seeing.
I am sure you do.
I'm sitting in a wheelchair right now. My back I have scoliosis. That's a spinal injury, right? From carrying that.
You didn't turn your camera off the last time you got up, by the way.
Well, yeah, we edit it out. We can,
Can't edit it out. We're live.
It's Thursday, right? People tape shows on Thursdays and they broadcast them on Friday, right? Right?
No, we're live.
Oh,
But but first and foremost, I want to thank John Alba last week again. I really appreciate it. Everybody's like, he was marking out. Yes, I was excited for John Alba to be on there. To me, he's one of the top 3 in the community, bar none, hands down.
That was a great show.
I literally want to thank you guys for being on and stuff like that. I know a lot of schedules are, hard to get to do. Other than that, go check out bodyslam.net. Why don't you go on the website, check out and donate to them. Give a slamtastic chat. As they say, I can't be like great like the franchise is. It'd be like, you gotta do this. Like, I don't have that means. I'm not that freaking smooth.
You don't have that sultry. Well, we don't have any music, and then you don't have that like smooth, sultry voice.
Yeah, I'm not that. I'm not that. I'm a dork, dude. Like, we already know this. I run around with a title belt in my house just for fun.
But you earned it. You earned it. That's not a dork. The dorks don't earn anything. You fought for that.
But the thing about it is, Drew, you have Grogu sitting on top of the shelf. So I mean, that has more clout than anything.
That's true.
And then other than that, come back here every Thursday night. Wicked Crazy Pinfalls, and then like, comment, and subscribe. Tell us what you like, what we're doing. Tell us what you don't like. At least we can work on stuff and get better. Positive criticism is better than no criticism at all. Do good deed, pay it forward. We got some stuff coming down the pipeline, and I'll work out while I'm on vacation to reach out to people and see if we can get that this title belt all squared away. So, because you guys deserve a champion, I'm just happy to be helping out doing it. So, other than that, have a good night, guys.
I miss Cody Rhodes.